a New Testament account of Jesus dying on the cross. Those are possibilities if the Quran didn't borrow. My personal conclusion, after weighing the evidence, I remain convinced, however, that the biblical witness is the reliable one regarding the crucifixion and the resurrection. For this discussion, we don't have to put in the resurrection, but just the crucifixion. Therefore, I conclude that the Quran's contrary claim is mistaken. In this life, however, we cannot be certain of anything. We can only go where the evidence leads. I want to be clear. You can't be 100% certain on anything in this life. You can't. The only thing you can do is you can look at all the evidence that is presented to you and you can go with where does it most seem probable that this happened. You can go where the evidence leads you and where the majority of the evidence is leading. But in this life, you cannot be 100% certain of anything. But based on the evidence that I see, I am convinced that what the Bible records that Jesus died on the cross by crucifixion around AD 30 or AD 34 is true. Occam's razor says when faced with competing explanations for the same phenomenon, the simplest one is usually the correct one. And the simplest way to explain the phenomenon of Jesus' crucifixion would be that he was crucified, and it would take more faith to believe the account in the Quran when the historical method leans towards the New Testament account because there's multiple attestation. There's the possibility that the Quran borrowed from the Gnostic Apocalypse of Peter, and then you would have to put all of your faith into one person, Muhammad, that he wasn't mistaken, versus putting your faith into all of these witnesses of the crucifixion and a non-Christian account of Jesus' crucifixion, recording historical figures that were there at the crucifixion, recording Pontius Pilate and Jesus being crucified during the reign of Pontius Pilate. So it's happening at the time of Pontius Pilate. The person of Pontius Pilate is in charge. Rome is occupying Jerusalem. That would be the exact context. And there's a Jewish Messiah who's been spreading the good news, and he's gathered a following, and people are believing in him. And then there's controversy, and he's crucified. So you have multiple attestation on one hand, all of these witnesses, historical figures, and non-Christian historical account on the New Testament side, versus Muhammad saying Jesus was not crucified. Do you want to place all your faith in one person, making sure that he got it right? When the historical method would tell you you should go, and if you're going to bet, you want to bet on the black. Okay. So why would you do that and put all of your faith in Muhammad, this one account that he got it right? If there is even a possibility that he could have been mistaken in any way, then you want to be hesitant about placing all your faith here. So again, like I said, there's multiple witnesses attesting to the New Testament account of Jesus' crucifixion. Tacitus records an official Roman government account. Um, and then there's the burial of Jesus in Deuteronomy 21. It says, and if a man has committed a crime punishable by death, and he is put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night on the tree. You shall bury him the same day, for a hangman is cursed by God. You shall not defile your land that the Lord your God has given you for an inheritance. So the Jewish people, it's very important that Jesus would have been buried. If he was hung on the cross, he would have been cursed, and they didn't want that. So Jesus died on the cross. They had to take him down and they had to bury him. So when you're taking him down from the cross, people would have seen him and interacted with his body. So the deception of them thinking that it was Jesus could have easily been exposed if that wasn't Jesus. They would have known, hey, this is not Jesus. They had to bury him in a tomb. So it's a lot to believe this one account. And then the gospel account records when it was evening, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who also was a disciple of Jesus. He went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate ordered it to be given to him, and Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a clean linen shroud and laid it in his own tomb. When he had cut the rock, he rolled a great stone to the entrance of the tomb and went away. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were there sitting opposite the tomb.